So today we're going to create an equation for the line of best fit. So what you see here is a scatter plot that has a negative correlation, and what we're going to do is we're going to determine a particular line that would go through them, and then once we've created the line, then we're going to determine an equation to go with that line so that we can make predictions about what happens at other amounts. And so what you need to do is kind of draw a line that you would feel comfortable with that kind of goes through. So I have one that looks like that. We're going to estimate this that it actually goes through here at 10. And so if I were to do that, then we would be able to pick out some points that would go accordingly. Or I could pick out 2 points here that I clearly went through and I could find that as well. And so let's say I used this one, and this is a 4 and 8. So there's my first order pair is 4, 8. And if I use this one here, I'm at 14 and 5. And I'm going to use all the tricks that I know how to do when I'm finding the slope. So clearly I want to find the slope. So I'm going to do 8 take away 5 and 4 take away 14. So I have 3 over negative 10. There's my slope. I'm going to pick an ordered pair so that if I didn't want to estimate, I could go ahead and actually calculate the b. That's usually the most efficient way to get the correct answer. So I'm going to have 3/10 times x plus b, and we're going to substitute. I'm choosing 4 and 8, so I'm going to put a 4 in here, which again doesn't work out beautifully, but it's not a horrible problem since I have a calculator. And so we're going to work the math problem out here. So 12 over 10, which we know is 1.2 negative. And so when we go ahead and add 1.2 to both sides, we end up having those cancel out, and I end up with 9.2, which is why I was slightly under where the 10 was in the original graph. So there's my equation. Y equals negative 3/10 x plus 9.2. Now, if we were in the classroom, I would have done this as a partner share or a group share, and so I would have had each of you separately come up with your equation, and then we would have compared our answers. Because what you're going to find is most people are not going to choose exactly the same lines to go ahead and get the same exact problem. We're going to get something that is best fit, meaning that was the best that they decided it was. So for instance, it's possible that I could have chosen a little bit less steep line, and I could have drawn my line and I could have gone through that same one there, and then maybe I would have drawn one over here, and I could have drawn another line. So just because this is the one answer that I came up with, you've shown the math to go ahead and fix it. And so the more data points we get, the more likely it is that we're not going to choose the same ones. And so if this person had done another line, it would have been similar to mine. You can see that it would have dropped a little bit below. So my y-intercept would have been in the 8 range. And my slope would have still been a negative. It just wouldn't have been quite as steep a number. So let's try one more of these so that you can get kind of a feel for what to do. And so I have one more with a positive slope here that I want us to look at. It talks about beach visitors. And so again, the first thing you need to do is determine what 2 points. These are all a lot closer, so it's a lot easier to go ahead and figure out what you would like to draw right down the middle. I like this little set right here, although that doesn't give me a very good correlation down here. And so I'm going to make a choice to draw through these right here, here, and here, which actually makes that not quite go through there. So I'm going to use this point here and this point here. That gives me 4 below it and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above it. So I'm pretty close to where I need to be. And so this one we're going to estimate. It looks like it's at 82. And this one is at 75. And then this one up here would be at 94. And then if I go across here, it looks like it's at 600. And so again, I'm going to start from the very beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and find the slope. So that would be 600 minus 75 and 94 minus 82. And we'll work that out so that we can get a correct answer. And I'm going to just check, see if it reduces to anything nice. I don't think it does. Yeah, not too nice. And so then again, I'm going to pick a point. I'm going to go with this one because I like working with hundreds better than I like working with 75s. So I'm going to choose that one. So I'm going to have y equals the slope times x plus b. And so again, I'm going to just do my calculation. So I'm going to take that number that I had on my calculator and I'm going to multiply it times 84. And I get a decimal answer of 4,112.5. And then we are clearly going to have to subtract that from 600 so that we can get, so I have negative 3512.5. And so now I'm ready to write my equation. So if I come over here to by the graph and I write my equation, my choice was that it was 525 over 12x, and I ended up with negative 3512.5. Now let's just remind yourself that this is when we have massive amounts of data. This is where our computers and the programmers come in handy, because if we can write an equation that works pretty well, then we can make predictions all the way out to any amount that we would like to. All right, so this is how we write an equation when we are given a scatter plot.